the tutorial of the Excel version of the automated programming template. First off, thank you for purchasing. I hope this gives you a lot of value. And I'm going to show you step by step on how to do this. And I want you guys to notice you've got two files in your downloads. And the reason we do this is because some of you guys may not have the newest version of Excel, may have an older version, and I want it to function properly for you. The newer version will have a more it'll have an extra feature on it, but both of them will still have the print all feature. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to open both files just to be here. Okay, both of them are going to be the exact same thing, and as far as this first part, I'm going to open both of them and you'll see the difference between the two as we walk through it. So the first thing that both files are going to ask you when you open it is this right here, that do you want to disable macros? No, you do not. You want to enable, because the macro is the script that is going to run your print all whenever you decide to be able to use the button on there. It will not function if you guys do not hit enable macros. So make sure you hit enable and we're good there. Okay, so this is going to be the newest version where you can print by group. We're also going to open up the other one, the single group programming. It's going to ask me the same thing. Make sure I enable, and we're good. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this version, and we're going to talk through it. You're going to see, if you already have the Google Sheets version, you're going to notice this functions exactly the same, just with a couple added features. Second, if this is your only template that you have, I'm going to walk through this step by step exactly how you should, like the workflow you should use in order to maximize your time on this. Where should you start and where should you end, and where should you go from there? So first part, we're going to start off, you're going to see 4 tabs: a player database tab, exercise index tab, 4-day blank template tab, 3-day blank template. This comes with a 4-day and 3-day. Guys, I recommend keeping these templates here available, hidden, whatever you want, because this is the ones you're going to make copies of to write your cycles. Okay, sorry, excuse me. We're going to start in the player database. Okay, the first thing you should do, okay, you can ignore all this stuff over here, is you're going to type in all of your athletes' names. Okay, first thing you're going to do. Then you're going to put any player information that you want in these columns. Okay, you've got 6 columns. This lift group column needs to stay alone. We're going to touch this in a minute. That should not change, especially in this newer version. We don't want to touch that. Okay, but any of these can be edited, right? I can change rack to sport if I wanted to, right? Or if I wanted it to be, season, like what season we're in, whatever, right? So it can be whatever you want it to be. Those are editable. These arrows are just here, and if you ever wanted to sort it, that's what this is for. Sort in order to see whatever you needed to see, and that will come into play over here in a minute. Okay, so first thing you want to do, type in your athlete's name, put in their info. Okay, don't worry about the lift group yet. Okay, do that part. Done. Okay, next thing, come over to the exercise index. Okay, this tab is where you're going to type in all of the language of your exercises that you use. Okay, however you use it. I have 14 of them in here just as filler so you can see how it works. You can change them into any language you like. For example, barbell overhead press is here. If you call it military press, delete it and put in what you want. Okay, make sure you can use and customize the language that you want it for. All right. Over here, you can pick what category you want it to go in. The only reason that I put that in here, some people want to sort by category and just look at the exercises that they have. This gives you the opportunity to do so, and these are also filler categories. You can type in any category you want in this column right here under the subcategories, and they will line up here. So watch. Type in insert category. Now any exercise in the drop down will have that there. See that here, right? Come over here, delete it, look at it now. It's no longer there. Okay, so that's a dynamic drop down there. So fill that out, because anything you want to program is going to come from this. It's going to come from this database right here, and you've got plenty of room. I don't think you'll ever need more than 400 exercises, so you got 400 slots to do that there. Next thing is putting in your lift group labels. So these are the people that, if you wanted to print by group and run through all the kids' names of the lift group that they're in, this is where you do that, and you just label them whatever you want it to be: football, baseball, basketball, first period, second period, athletic period, non-travel, badminton. It can be whatever you want it to be. The drop down in the player database under lift group is going to pull from this list, okay? And you can make that into whatever you want it to be. And once you have that finished, you can come back to your player database and assign your lift groups, okay? Make sure it stays in this column and does not need to change. That's why that's red, okay? So you know. And in the drop down is where you can pick, okay? And that's where, when we print here in a minute and show you how that's going to print, what it runs through is going to depend on whatever group you pick, and then going to look up the names that have that group, okay? So you guys know. Next thing, now that you have the information, you got your exercises in, lift groups picked out. I've got 6 athletes here already. First thing you're going to do is, now that you got your exercise index in, you're going to pick what lifts are going to be your primary lifts that you test and training maxes that you're going to use. Okay, so these are like our main training maxes, main exercises you may test or you want to track. You can change them anytime you want through this drop down. For example, if I didn't want power clean, this arrow right here, I can pick any of my exercises that are in my exercise index. Okay, the arrow on the inside is where you want to sort. If you ever wanted to sort all the way from the name all the way through your main exercises, you can sort any of that. For example, if you wanted to see, you could select only want to see baseball and who's got sort the power clean highest to lowest, who on the baseball team, what do our power clean numbers look like. That's what that sorting there is for, but it doesn't get rid of your data. You can go back and do that there. Like, for example, you could go here. Well, let me make sure they have some numbers. For example, baseball here. Say this guy's got a 225 power clean. Let's just sort them here. So we're going to unselect them. We're going to select baseball. Oh, there they are. Now we're going to sort descending. Now you can see it there. There's only 2 guys, but that's what that is. We're here. We're going to be ascending. Lift group, we're going to select them all again. We're good. And I'm here. I'm going to go ahead and sort the name alphabetical order. Boom. There it is. Okay, we're in alphabetical order there. Notice that all the data runs with it. So you're never going to lose any data here by sorting. That's what's the beauty of this is. So here you're going to type in all your numbers, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You've got 8 columns here to put in whatever training maxes that you're going to put in manually or track. Body weight should stay here, and put your kid's body weight in, because if you ever wanted to do an exercise off a percentage of body weight, such as like a plyometric, trap bar jump, you need to put it in this column. Okay, so I would recommend keeping that one. Then you've got 8 to play with. That should be plenty. Now, over here in the red, this is important. This is where you can create training maxes and derivatives. The red is red for a reason, because there's already a code in every single cell, because it's automated, 100% automated. Nothing that you have to create. You only have to play with these 3 variables up here. And I'm going to talk you through what that looks like. We have RDL here. Okay, so let's say this was blank. So I deleted it. Okay, that's empty. Say these are empty as well. Okay, first thing is I want to program RDL. So I'm going to pick RDL. All right, but when I get training max numbers, I don't test RDL, so I need to train it off of something. Okay, some people like to do it off power clean, some people like to do it off squat, some people like to do it off deadlift. Let's say if I wanted it to do 80% off of my back squat, type in 80% there, and then drop down menu off of my back squat. Notice that this drop down is going to pull from your main lifts. It's not going to pull from anything else, and if these lifts change, these change. Okay, so it's dynamic. Okay, it's all connected. Okay, back squat, boom, it's going to automatically create here. One thing you'll notice is that if you repeat an exercise in the derivatives that are already in the main, it's going to highlight red and tell you that, nope, you can't do that because it's not going to be able to read off two things. For example, I pick bench press here. I've already got it. It's going to highlight it and say, whoa, 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 you got two. You got duplicates. Can't do that. Okay. If you have a main lift there, go from there. So that's what that looks like. Now that all your numbers are in, now it's time to start programming. Okay, and you can use any template you want. I'm going to start with the 3-day here and go from here. This is where things start to get different than Google Sheets. If you've had it, if you don't know what that is, that's fine, no big deal. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you're going to scroll all the way over to the right, and you're going to notice there's a little grouping button here. At the top, this button right here, don't click this yet, because once you click it, you will print everything that's in the drop-down menu for your athletes. First thing you're going to do is you're going to select what group you want to print or what group you want to work with. Okay, this is going to control what athlete is in this what's all in this drop-down menu. If it's all athletes, it's going to bring up all the athletes' names in your player database right here. Boom, there you go. All 6 are here. But if we only want to see who's in the basketball group, we come over here, notice only athlete 3. If we go to our player database, athlete 3, basketball, there's nobody else. Okay? If you want to just print everybody, all athletes. Make sure once you're done selecting this, we're going to close this group. Boom. Because now that's not going to be worrying about printing. So watch. I'm going to open that up. If I press Command P or Control P, notice that the printing looks all wonky. That doesn't look good. That's not what we want. Okay, do this. This button's not included. I take the shortcut again. Now notice that on my printer, the card is being taken up all this space. So now you're going to be able to read it well and all of that. Okay, you can still print individually. Don't think that you have to use the print all. You can always select a different athlete. All your numbers will change. Okay, you can still print one by one if you'd like. But if you press this button, it will print it all. One thing you need to do is when you set up printing, make sure that your settings are set on the printer that you want. You may have to play around with that. I would play around that with the individual printing to make sure everything's good, especially with the 4-day blank template. When, like, if you wanted to print, because it's 2 sheets, you have day 1 and day 2 on one sheet, day 3 and day 4 on another. If you can print front and back, you have that capability to do so. Set those settings. You're going to have to play around with that because every single printer is different. Okay. Another thing I want to touch on is looking at this. It's already set in page break mode. Okay. This allows us to see what's being printed, what's not. We don't want to be in this mode here, which is just the normal mode. We want to be in the page break mode, page break preview mode here. So we can see this page 1 is telling us this is just one page. That doesn't get printed. You can just see it. All right. When it comes to printing, when it comes to programming, notice that your information stuff is here, depending on who you want it, what you want. All that's going to pull from your player database that you want to see, or your kids to see, your athletes to see on your chart and on your card. All this is editable. Cycle 1 and your dates. It doesn't have to be that. That's just there in case you wanted to, or any info you want to use. Okay, one thing that is, and then you've got your space for your team logo and the team, school, whatever you're using there. One thing you can use is this intensity regulator here. Let me show you this. So I'm going to pick a kid that I know has some numbers. Okay, so this guy. All right, athlete 1, RDL and back squat here. If you want the whole workout, if you needed to print off a sheet, and a kid you want to drop all of the global intensity of the entire workout down 10% to 90%, that's what this is. So if I type in 90, watch the training max number here. Press enter, boom. It knocks all of your percentages down a global 10%. That's an easy way to change things if you had a quick practice or coach changed something on the fly. You feel like your guys are dead. You can do that. Click print all. You just changed the program because of something you saw in a matter of seconds. Okay, keeping it at a 100 is easy as well. Okay, and all of the yellow is where you're going to pick your exercises. Okay, they might not have a training max. For example, dumbbell rows has no training max. It's not going to pop up any percentages. Okay, you don't have to type in percentage. You can just type in sets and reps if you want. Okay, guys, understand this point. Very important. In the weight column, do not erase what's inside the weight column on anything, ever. It is built and automated on purpose to where the weight will be pulled from the percentage based off the training max that is there. If there's not a training max, guys, it will be empty. You don't have to worry about it. Even if you type in a percentage, you don't have to worry about the weight showing unless there's a training max. So do not erase it. Guys, when you go to reprogram, you're going to reuse a template. You're going to make a copy and program, and you just highlight the whole thing and erase it to start over, you have completely screwed up the code. That's why I recommend keeping this template blank. When you receive this template, all of these data points and these percentages will not be here. It will appear blank, so you can use it as blank. You don't want to take time and have to delete all these things, delete, so I can reuse it for another 4-week cycle. Keep a tab already blank so you can just create a copy. That's what that's for. It will still work and will function properly. I'm just putting this here so everybody can see that the numbers and everything will show up. Your percentage, sets, and reps are customizable by you. The weight is automated. Okay, do not erase it. All right, here in your supersets, you still got your drop downs for your exercises. These sets and rep, and here if you wanted to put a cue like a 2-second eccentric or something there, you wanted your whatever your athletes to see, that's completely there. What band to use, just there for your use, however you want to use it. Okay, that's all editable, and you can pick your supersets from there. That's the same across the board. So you've got day 1 here, day 2 in the middle, day 3 on the right. Okay, this is that 3-day template that works. Notice I go to print. It looks really good right there. The margins are already set. Okay, if for some reason your margins get messed up when you're on it, go to custom margins. Managing our custom margins, we want our margins to be 0.2 across the board, everywhere. 0.2 will get it really close to the edge, but make sure that it's maximizing the entire page. If you look on the 4-day template, nothing's different. Everything's the same, except it's in a portrait mode instead of into it's not a portrait mode, it's in it's not in a landscape mode, it's in a portrait mode, and it's 2 pages. Okay, we're still in page 1 here. We're in page 2 there. Notice the drop down, the button's is closed. If you need to change a group or just keep it at all athletes, notice that if you don't close that back, it's going to use this as a 3rd page. So like for example, if I press print here, got page 1 here, page 2 there, and then it's going to give you this random page. You don't want that. You want to close that out. If I go to print individually, I'm going to have 2 pages, right? If you're going to do a 4-day template and you can print front and back, I recommend doing so. If not, you can just have 2 pages you can scale together, staple together if you needed to. Remember, this button will print all. Okay, same thing. Here on the 4-day template, you've got 2 places, it's 2 pages, so athlete 1 here. Everything over here is going to copy over from what's over here, guys. You don't have to worry about doing both sides. You don't have to pick the athlete on both pages. Just pick it on the first one. For example, if I change this to James Bond, it's going to change it over here as well. Don't worry about that. And notice that everything changes with it. The intensity regulator is the same. Okay, it's going to copy over from one page to another. So you don't have to worry about it. So we're there. And if you print that, click that button, you're going to print everything. All right. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Rewatch this tutorial video. Play with the print all. I wouldn't recommend putting in 50 athletes and testing print all because it will print all 50. Okay, I want you to understand that. If you want to mess with it, you can select your lift group of a lift group that's really small, like 2 or 3 athletes, so you can mess with it there and make sure that it's functioning for you. Okay, I'm going to minimize this one. I'm going to save. And we're going to look at the other one, okay, the single group programming. If you have an older version of Excel, everything that we just watched is the exact same thing. The only thing that's different is the printing capability. Okay, you'll notice here there is no grouping, right? Because we can't select. It's just always going to be all of your athletes in one spot. So you can still pick the athlete, right? I can still pick, print, everything's the same, print individually. Just know if you press this button, it's going to print everybody that's in there, everybody that's in your player database. The only reason that the older versions don't support that is because there's 2 or 3 formulas that I use with the newer version that is not supported by older versions of Excel. And that makes things easier on us if you have the new one. I would highly recommend looking into it, especially if you're an educator or part of an organization or school that has Microsoft 365. Get that version to help things go smoother for you. If you don't, this will still work as well and save you time printing. You just have to be smart about who all's in your player database. Okay, at this point in the player database, your lift group's not really that important. Only if you want it to show up on the lifting card, which it's still there, it's in the info, so you can sort it, put it in places, organize it, whatever you want. But it's not as important anymore because you can't sort by it and print. But it all functions the exact same. Don't worry. From there, I believe we have covered pretty much everything. I hope you guys see value in this. I hope it really expedites your programming process and gets you where you want to go. Last thing is that creating a copy is real simple. You just right click on one of these, okay, select move or copy. Down here, click, check create a copy, move it in whatever order. If you want to move it to the end, press OK. And then boom, you've got a copy there. Start programming for whatever cycle. You can rename it to whatever you want it to be. Like I said, guys, when you get these, all these numbers aren't going to be preset in here. These exercises aren't going to be preset. This will be blank for you to use automatically. And guys, I recommend keeping these available. Okay, if you don't want them, show them on your tabs. Right click it and hit hide. Okay, boom, sheet's hidden. Okay, it's almost as if it's not there, right? If we want to unhide these sheets, hit unhide. You see the ones here, you right click, one says unhide. It shows all of the tabs that are hidden. Right there, press OK. It'll bring it right back. Don't worry, it's not anywhere. Just to keep things organized, if you wanted to keep the blank ones hidden so you don't accidentally program on them, that's one way to do it there. So I'm going to delete this tab because I no longer need it because I made a copy of it. And we're good from there. Hope you guys enjoy this, the programming template on the Excel version. If you have any hiccups or anything, feel free to email me or message me on social media. See you guys.